call to order the Tuesday, September 10, 2024 Urban Mills City Council Lunch Learn meeting, and ask Nicole to take roll call, please.
Carberry Montgomery.
Here.
Kroll. Okay, I see you. I see. Okay. McBurney.
Here.
Rosendahl.
Here.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Item 2 is approve the agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Kroll, second by McBurney. Discussion, roll call.
Kroll.
Yes.
McBurney.
Yes.
Rosendahl.
Yes.
Carberry Montgomery.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Item 3.1 of the agenda is to have a presentation from UCAN on its strategic plan, and I will turn it over to Jasmine Diaz and Betty Devine. So the floor is yours, guys.
Hey, can you hear us okay?
I can hear fine. Yep, just fine. Yep.
Okay, great. All right, well, I would say good pre-afternoon, and thank you for giving us some time to come and talk to you about the latest UCAN updates. And first and foremost, I want to thank you for financially supporting us over the years. You know, UCAN's been around for over 20 years, and we've had the city financially helping us on many of those times. And I also want to thank any of you that have given your own volunteer time hours to us, because, boy, UCAN runs on volunteers, and we cannot say enough to our volunteers at all. They play a vital part in our services. And being around for 20 years, the programs and services, as you might be aware of, have constantly been in flux and changing, and even the office location has changed in the last 5 years. But actually, our mission to provide support services for the community to help the citizens be stable has been a pretty constant for us. Over the last year and a half, we've not had a director or a leader. We've been some filling in by the board peoples, yours truly for part of it. But we still have focused on services that we could help the community that would have the biggest impact with the lowest cost, and such as the backpacks for the weekend backpacks for the school at Olmsted Middle School, the middle school, and also a few at the high schools. We've done food backpacks. Senior meals and rides have stayed consistent, and the yard cleanups for those that have called in and wanted them. We just had our back to school event, and we constantly are helping the in-home workers. Anytime they have a need, whether it's school supplies or blankets or household items, they'll call us and go, do you have or could you get? So we either purchase or we have donations, and we do what we can to help them with their families that are in need. Our birthday club is active. We did adopt a family this last year and for the holidays. And of course, as you're aware, we've done food rescue and distribution, which will be ending September 27th, 2024. So, and then if we have any other donations that have been given to us, you know, we make sure we find a new home for it or pass it on to any of the local organizations that give it away, like Mary Helping Hands or any of the other Salvation Army. So we do things that we aren't able to get out, we get out to another agency that can get them back into great, to be used by another family. And with that said, I'd like to thank you for your patience and understanding during this time, giving us time to complete a strategic plan. As you know, we hired Canary Consulting Firm that led us through this process. And we started off with, so do you have the PowerPoint going? Just a minute, okay. All right. No. And then, yeah, go to that one, please. Okay. So we took the feedback. We did a stakeholders survey, and we got the feedback from that, and we took it and just looked at it as far as where we wanted to go. Where were we? What we did historically, where we were today, the last year, and where we would like to go. And considering our vision and our mission to guide us through this process to make sure that we stayed on task, to continue to move us forward, supporting and whether it's a resource, a program, or service to fulfill the needs of the community. And of course, we consulted the city's human services study, and UCAN is ready to assist in any appropriate way to partner with the city to meet, exceed goals, and fill the gaps. There were actually 6 strategic themes that came up during the strategic plan, and I think it's your page 4. We probably slid it in there wrong. And so the document itself is a total of 26 pages, and the board is going to utilize it every board meeting, and that's what we're relying on to keep us moving forward and on track. But now I'm going to stop and allow Jazz to walk you through the rest of it.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jasmine Diaz. I'm excited and thrilled to be here with you. At every presentation, I get very nervous, so bear with me. I'm going to take you to the 6 different themes that we have. First and foremost is revenue generation, as Betty mentioned. You're one of our biggest contributors. But we want to make sure that we have a sustainable path to success. So we will consolidate a donors list to implement the strategy to fundraising, making sure that we do have enough funding to make sure that everything else runs like we have done for the past 25 years. Second will be optimized oversight, and then that will be basically anything inside of the organization, meaning we will update our handbooks, and then we're going to make sure that we have a full board. Currently, I think we have about 3 or 2, because people are coming to our age. They have, I think, 3 years that they can serve in our committees or as a board member, and some of them are aging out. So we need to recruit new members. Or third one will be back office effectiveness. That means new technology, implementing effective and efficient ways to get things done. Most and foremost, I believe in technology. I'm a millennial, so that will make sense of what I mean. And then the fourth one, it'll be program refinement. I know UCAN has been with you for 25 years. I know they're not at grassroots, and I don't think you guys, you understand that UCAN has done an amazing job in the community, but we need to rescale, rescope, and rethink about how we can do these the best that we can. So that's what we're trying to research and implement a new way to do programming, which I hope will create a more sustainable and effective way to perform for clients and the whole community. And then fifth will be community partnerships. We know that if you want to get things done fast, you work alone, but if you want to get things that will help a mass amount of people, you have to work in a group, meaning collaboration is key for us. We need to create a safety network. That's why UCAN is Community Action Network, which means we all come together for a goal. We will probably partner up with many different community members, such as the Urbandale Food Pantry, Salvation Army, Mary Helping Hands, different churches in the community. We want to make sure that we have a broad network, and it not only within Urbandale, but the whole Story County. Polk County. I used to work in Story County, so I apologize. And then the last one will be compelling story. We do a great job, but we need to make sure people know about UCAN. So with that said, we need to make sure that we do a marketing campaign that will help us get the word out there for all these people that need help, as well as possible partnerships or contributors to help us grow what we do and our mission. So I don't know if you have questions. The last page that I added here is everybody's email and or phone number. Yes?
Go into this one.
Okay. So as you see on page 3, we just basically, I think that was our mission and vision statement in the past, and that pretty much emphasized what people we're going to be serving, which is students, seniors, and families. And our vision is a healthy, engaged, and vibrant Urbandale. We're going to, as our mission says, provide essential support to Urbandale residents by fostering a stronger, more resilient community. As Betty mentioned to you guys, we currently do food rescue, and then we're stopping that at the end of the month. But we'll continue our food deliveries, Backpack Buddies, summer supplement food, and then we do a delivery for Metro West. The other part will be clothing, which is another basic need. We probably will just emphasize in children and kids under K-12, is that correct? Transportation for seniors and any of the things they might need for cleanup, and other essential needs that they might come up with. I want to partner up with the Senior Center to make sure that we obviously reach out to that part of the community. For learning support, I'm trying to come up with different programming with the middle school right now. We have something on the works. Hopefully by the next year we have it on the go. The same as anything that the FFOs or facilitators, is that what you guys call them? Anything they need, we're more than happy to jump in and help out. For community connection, we, as I said, want to connect with the Senior Center. We are going to be doing outreach. I'm excited for trunk or treat. I already got my custom ready. So that's going to be pretty much where we're going in the coming up, I think 2-3 years. Is that correct?
Yeah, and this was just a one-page summary of our strategic plan to where we're starting and the areas that we want to focus on. We wanted to break down who's our audience. And then we went to what we're doing, as you see, and where the areas, and then we'll expand from there. So this is a 3-year project, but we want to get our foundation reworked and established. And so we're just going to take everything that historically has been done and refocus it, because some things are there, but it's not quite, like our policies and procedures. We just want to refocus everything, and these are the main things that we're currently doing, and we'll be adding to them. But we thought if we're doing it and doing it well, let's stabilize it and then go forth from there. And then you go to your board. Any questions on that slide? I guess I should have asked.
Move it back to that slide.
Yes.
Please. So I'm hearing you say that these are the items in which UCAN will focus on moving forward. Have you guys had any conversations yet in terms of specific program activities and outcomes that you anticipate within these spaces, or is that yet to come?
As far as outcomes, what are for each area?
Like how many people you anticipate with your current funding to be able to meet the needs, and really prioritizing because there's a lot on here, and so I'm curious, like a prioritization process or outcomes, or even thinking through where's your capacity on these, and so based on capacity, do some of these take priority over others?
Well, if you look at them, a lot of them are seasonal, so you kind of focus on them at each individually time. So for right now, we can look at, we don't have a number or an outcome number that we're trying to reach. We have, for example, we talked about senior rides. We were having low drivers. So we started looking at who our seniors were that we were taking around, and we were discovering more than not, we were starting to get the assisted living people that already have transportation available to them, and so we made a board decision that we're not going to take those people. So the whole focus of RISE is to keep a senior in their home longer. And if they're already living at a place that offers them rides, then we're going to stop those. So we notify the riders, drivers, and like Eilidh Hills and couple of the places, assisted living, and said, we're not going to take your people, and they go, that's fine, we do it. So we said, well, just so you know.
And they should have
So
Medicaid.
there's something like that. So those kinds of things, we need to take each program, and we're actually putting them into a project description and what it is, what's the purpose, and what is our goal. And we're in a process of that, Amy. And so once we get those done, you're welcome to see those. But we don't have a priority list right now. We're just breaking each project down into a description.
Sure, and that's a process.
Does that make
I get
sense?
that. So, yeah.
That's what I said rescale and rescope. Meaning also the food distribution. That was a large undertaking. I just been here for a month, and I thought, oh my God, that's a lot of my time. Whether it's to collect data, to make sure things get run smoothly, that I have enough volunteers to do every single distribution every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So as you said, to make priorities clear, we love to help people, but as you said, capacity-wise, infrastructure, everything has to come to be in a path that we can sustainably keep it going. And that wasn't something we could. Plus, there's a great system you guys have already in place, like the Urban Food Pantry can serve these people in a really good way. So we thought we need to step back, rescale, rescope, and restructure. That's why we decided not to continue that service. And
that happens, and there's no shame in that. It's just part of evolution. So I appreciate you guys recognizing that you don't have to do it all, and there are times when it makes more sense for perhaps another entity to do that work too.
What we're showing you is kind of the public part of the strategic plan, and we're welcome to share other parts of it with you, Amy, that you're welcome to say our details and our timeline. We have done that. What we're doing in 24, 25, and 26, and the city is going to get the whole plan because, you'd asked for that. So this was just what we're started with today for you without going through each year individually, but we're welcome. You can have that. We can mail it to you when we're done.
Yeah, no worries.
Does that help?
Yeah, I know it's a process. So I'm just kind of wondering, it answers my question of where you are in that process. So I appreciate that clarification.
I think if we shared the whole thing with you, that will tell you even more where we're at, because we're divided into committees, like 4 different committees working on different parts of it. So we'll share that with you, and then if you have any questions, come on in.
Sure.
and we can do another one of these if we want, but it's not a secret per se.
Yeah. No.
And we are all, and thank you for guys what you do. Is there any other questions? But I also would ask if you have any ideas on board members, because we've reached out to people and we don't hear back, or some people are just too overwhelmed. So anybody, feel free to email us and let us know. You want to hit the last slide there, our email, and you guys have this, but
hey, Betty,
email phone number.
This should not be a surprise that these words are about to come out of my mouth, but I would love to see a concerted effort to get folks from Dallas County. I don't recognize any of these folks as Dallas County residents, but I think it is very important as we attempt to create meaningful connections between the east and the west side of our community that we be intentional about things like this. And I will think about, obviously, folks, but that's my 2 cents on potential board members.
No, and I so appreciate that and agree with that, Bridget, and that's where I know people, I don't even stop to think about whether they're Dallas or Polk, but we'll have to make a conscious effort of that, and I'll bring that up to the board to say, please think of people around Urbandale, not just certain part. All these, I think most of them are in Polk County. But anyway, yes, I appreciate that comment a whole lot. Thank you.
I would also say, thinking that you have a compelling storytelling goal with marketing and branding trying to recruit someone specifically in the marketing and or branding field would be helpful.
That's being said by Gail, one of our board members, because that's what we're trying to outreach for, someone that can have that and bring it into UCAN with their expertise. This lady is amazing. Some of my board members are great, but as you said, we want to find someone with those, I guess, strengths. Strengths, is that the word? Like those things that they will bring in more expertise into our board.
And you're right, we had somebody contracted with some social media more than marketing, and now we are looking at a marketing focus. And in fact, Canary had a couple ideas for us, so I think that is another wonderful suggestion. And if you have anybody wonderful, send them our way, Amy.
Yeah.
But we have reached out. I think Jazz has a name or two, and
Great.
we'll have to do a little process to get somebody in.
I want to start doing a newsletter, but I want someone who has that background with a lot of understanding of how to write something short, brief, but very powerful. Me as a second language learner, I love to read and write and all that stuff, but I feel that it's always best to have someone with best understanding of the language. Like if I send you guys something in Spanish, you probably would be like, I like it, but I don't know what it says.
Sure.
Anything else for the, suggestions? We love them. Questions, clarifications.
We're going to be very active on Facebook. As I said, millennial. I do understand that a lot of people, that's one of the cheapest ways to outreach to people. It doesn't cost you anything. You just post things in there. Social media is a very powerful tool if you use it for the right purposes. We want to update our website because that was one of the things, like, how can you reach out to seniors when some of them don't like technology, so you have to make it very friendly. But that's on the works, so hopefully within the next few years we can do something with our website that it will be more user-friendly. It takes, as you said, a lot of different things to put together, but that's one of the things I want to do as well, because make it as simple and as easy for everybody. Either will be someone in second language, like I know myself, my parents are not that tech savvy, they're second language learners. They don't like computers that much. So we want to make sure that those people don't have that many barriers to be able to come to our programs and get access to all these beautiful things that we have for the community. Any questions? People are sleeping. I got my matcha this afternoon, so I'm super nervous too. So that perks me up.
So remind me again, how many board members are you trying to recruit?
The board would be full with 11, and right now Todd actually just stepped off, so we only have 8 again. Seven, right? Yeah, because Brittany just came on.
Yes.
So you need 4 or you need 3?
Yep. And I think what we need to do is, since Bridget, I wrote myself a note, we need to start posting that would be in Dallas County. If anybody, I don't know whether there's anything place to post, but it would be nice to post that we're looking for a Dallas County participant.
Might be worth reaching out to the school district, since you have Michelle Hamilton on here for Urbandale Schools.
Betty, I can get you the contact for the social worker for the district, Leslie Christensen, and she has the best understanding, I think, of the counselors, because there are certain counselors that deal with, student needs more than, traditional counseling. And so you and I can talk later and get connected there. Leslie, I think, was somewhat involved in our human services strategic plan, right, Amy?
I don't recognize that name, but that doesn't mean she wasn't.
We had somebody from Waukee, and I think it was her. So let's talk, Betty.
Okay, sounds wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Bridget. I don't know you in person, but I thank you.
Well, I've been around UCAN for a long time. My husband was the chair maybe 10 or 12 years ago.
So I want to
Yeah,
have
he was on the
coffee
board
with
at the beginning.
some of you guys coming up, but it's just a matter of having some time. I think I have lunch with Jan. I always say her name wrong. Jan. And
Molly.
I want to have coffee with all of you guys, at least so you guys get to know me a little bit better. And we want to collaborate very close with the city because my understanding is that you guys are our biggest funder, and I think to understand what you guys want as what I'm impressed with the city, as I mentioned to AJ too. I come from Marshalltown, a small community of 30,000 people, something like that, and seeing how amazing this community is and how welcoming it is, it just makes me really happy. I'm happy to connect with Dallas County. I don't know them that well, but I mean, something that networking has never been a problem for me. But we want to do it with a very strategic mindset. We want to make sure that we serve our people the best way we can.
All right. Any further comments or questions? Thank you, Jasmine. Thank you, Betty. Appreciate it.
I do have a
And
question. I'm sorry. I'm just kind of getting organized at my mom's house. So in terms of the food rescue routes that you guys were doing, how have those been given to the food pantry, or who own, like, I don't know the right terminology, but who owns them and where are they going?
It's an agreement with the Food Bank of Iowa, and so I had to call and notify them and talk to them about the retail people. And there's like 3 different people there to count. But anyway, we just have to turn it back to them, and then they decide where it goes. We had suggested and know that the pantry has been wanting it for a long time. However, they said, we have a list. I can't guarantee where it's going to go. And I go, I'm just putting in a plug.
Yeah. I mean, that's frustrating, but I know it's well above your pay grade.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to see that stay in Urbandale. But
yeah, so I don't know what they're doing with it or when. They just know that, they'll have that decision. And hopefully, I don't know, I reached out to Patty for a meeting. I haven't heard. I know she's very busy to see how things are going for her. So.
Okay, thanks for that. I'll follow up with her as well.
I don't know if they've gotten it or not, or if a decision's been made at the food bank, but it's all about Food Bank of Iowa people making the decision.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Thanks, Betty.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys. We will move on then to item 3.2, and that is to discuss the draft ordinance for leash requirements. AJ, you're going to start us off on that?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, thank you. At your last council meeting, we had a discussion, and the police chief, who is online and has prepared a document for at least an initial review. There was a discussion about enforcement of or changing the current ordinance to require animals on leash in the city parks, at the city public areas. And so Rob made a first stab at the current ordinance, making some changes, which in context of the current ordinance were relatively small, but they really got to the point of what our discussion was last week, is that the council's desire that when an animal, a dog, was off its owner's property, that it had to be on a leash. With that, we sent over the revised ordinance with the changes that Rob put forward. So I'll just leave it. If you have questions, or if Rob, if you want to give a really quick highlight of those changes, that would be helpful. And if we're proceeding accordingly, then we would place this on your agenda next week for the first revision or the reading. So Rob, if you would, please.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? Yep. Okay, great. Yeah, very simple. As AJ stated, just removed the at heel exception in that one line, cross that out, and there was another spot in there where at heel was referenced. I also noticed that there was a reference to 10-foot leash in a couple places, like at one spot where if your dog's in heat, it has to be on a 10-foot leash, but then other places it referenced a 6-foot leash when you're talking about vicious animals or animals that are known to bite, that type of thing. From what I saw from everybody else's ordinance that I reviewed, 6-foot leash was the standard. That was what everybody, so I thought, why do we have 10, 6? Why do we have a difference here? Let's just make it all 6-foot leash and make it real simple. So there were just a couple spots where I made that 10-foot to 6-foot leash change, again, going off of what I saw in the vast majority of the other ordinances. Added just a small piece about the dog park and being able to allow your dog off a leash there without getting into all the minutia about the dog park rules. I just stated a couple of the bigger rules and then basically referenced Park and Rec. You know, when you sign up for your dog park pass, you have to follow the rules of the park, and left it at that. And ran that by Jan. She thought that was a good way to do it as well, rather than just going on and on and on about all the rules of the dog park when really that can be handled through their notification when you get a dog park pass. So yeah, that's first draft, first attempt at it. So any comments or anything you'd like to see different in there, if you could just let me know, and I can certainly make.
Any questions, comments?
I think the changes are good. I had one question that isn't related to leashes. That I was reading on the bottom of page 4 when they're defining dangerous animals, there was an exception for squirrel monkeys. Is there a history there, or like I'm just
Rob, you're on mute.
Is there a squirrel monkey in Urbandale?
I am unaware of any squirrel monkeys in Urbandale. I must have missed that. I did not touch the rest of the language. That I don't know where that all came from, but I can certainly look into that, and we can take that exception out of there if you'd like. Yeah, I see it now, except the squirrel monkey.
Yeah.
Probably refers back to some obscure law from like the early 1900s or something crazy.
Yeah. So I was just, it was mainly a curiosity. I don't think it's per se, unless there's a real reason, but it just caught my eye.
I can red line out the exception as well on the squirrel monkey if you would like. It doesn't make any sense to have that in there, honestly.
Right. It feels a little odd.
But we can have an exception for laser eye raccoons, though, maybe. Yeah.
I think that's
Put it in there for the council like 40 years from now to catch. No, that's someone that was really pushing for this, Rob. I appreciate you putting it all together.
And not give special preference to the squirrel monkey.
I'm super curious now. I just want to Google what is a squirrel monkey. So.
Rob, do we have anything in there about a water buffalo either?
Well, yeah, I couldn't believe how many days that Phil, the water buffalo in Pleasant Hill, was the top news story in the Des Moines metro area, but I'm glad that wasn't us. I was dealing with that headache over there.
Yeah.
I think squirrel monkeys have been domesticated sometimes, but I don't know why we'd have an exception for it. But
yeah.
I haven't seen any walking down the sidewalks, so.
Yeah, I guess we do 3 readings for an ordinance change. So if somebody really feels strongly about squirrel monkeys, they can come and speak to us.
Yeah, I'm not anticipating a full gallery of squirrel monkey owners showing up, but who knows? It could happen.
Blake, to your question is that I know that you folks have seen some social media posts about folks wanting to have a more stringent requirement for dogs and not on heel but at leashes. So we typically do a 3 reading. You can make a decision whether or not you wish to expedite that and adopt on the 2nd reading, but more than likely, given the fact that you've had so much, there's been some outside discussion, that it's probably valid to have the 3 readings to give everybody the opportunity to comment. I presume that I've seen a couple of those posted that they are supportive of a more stringent lease requirement. I don't know that you'll get comments on the other side, but the 3 readings should give a sufficient amount of time for those who have opinions about it to come forward.
I can say, I mean, I've had more comments about dogs being off leash in the past 4 years than probably anything else. So I'm glad to see this moving forward. Thank you.
Will this go to the Parks Board first?
No.
I'm just wondering how, other than, you know, our public notification process, how we notify, I mean, I don't know, this is because it's been something so discussed in our neighborhood Facebook pages and next door. I'm wondering if there's a way that we can communicate specifically that we're taking action. I think this is something that's maybe a bigger part of our communication strategy, but I don't know. Does anybody kind of understand what I'm trying to say here, I guess, about?
Yeah, how do we make sure people are aware of this?
I think they're going to be supportive, but, you know, we also hear that we don't respond to emails and we don't respond to Facebook posts, and I don't know. Maybe we don't have an answer for this particular one, but I think it's something that we need to figure out a way to, when we are being proactive, I don't know, or reactive, to let the public know that we're responding to their concerns.
I see Jan's on there, and Bridget, would it be just for an example, to take it to the Park Board for confirmation? Because it does deal a bit with the parks and the dog park. Jan, thoughts? Jan, you're on mute.
You turn your volume up. Maybe that's what's going on.
Well,
This is the first
as Jan trying to get her
speechless.
stuff, as Jan tries to get her stuff working, I don't have any problem. I mean, there's no issue with me to run it in front of Park Board and to delay this a little bit. You know, maybe not the next council meeting, but maybe go to the next one after that to make sure the first reading is out there a little bit, so we have some time to have Derek push out social media. We can push it out on our channels over here at PD, even though it's not really specific to PD issue, but we can certainly help with spreading the word, if you will. Yeah, I don't have any problem with when or how this gets in front of you guys.
And Derek, I think Derek,
right.
Yeah, I think Derek can also push it out after each council. I mean, after the first reading, push it out in the council recap. Just make sure it's highlighted there, and also highlight there are 2 more readings of it as well. I think we can certainly have plenty of opportunities to get out as much information on this as we can. So
we could also share it with the local vets as well. That's one of the things that, you know, people bring in animals for vaccination and health checks, and just maybe a little flyer that says a reminder that the leash law has changed in the city of Urbandale. If, you know, there's an outlet for us.
Well, I think we as elected officials can identify those who have maybe more of an influential voice within the community to be able to help spread the word. I mean, I think it's definitely important for Derek and his team to get it out there through the official channels. But I also think that, you know, we can kind of use our own unofficial channels to help spread the word as well. So
I just thinking while we're talking about this, that another thing we can do is push it out to Britt over at Furry Friends and have her, you know, she's one of our partners, and have her push it out as well. That we're considering this ordinance change. You know, if you have a voice in it or you know, any interest in it, that, you know, this is when it's going to happen, etc.
I'm definitely not wedded to going to the Parks Board at all about it. I just, I think these ideas that we came up with of ways to spread the word, but again, I always like to give people opportunity to comment during the process rather than after we've taken action. So if we did go to, or I know Derek's gone this week, we could do sort of infographic that indicates we're talking about this at the council. I don't know. Maybe we don't want to put on that road. I don't know. But I think we're going to be generally supportive. The community is, but I don't know.
Jan put a strategy out there in the chat. I think she's still having problems with her computer, so you might see that. You know, I think to Jan's, you know, one of the things that we try to do is to mute her as much as we can. So this is one of our strategies.
I would say, I mean, I guess if there's a commission meeting next week, I think I would be okay with if we put the first reading on the first meeting in October. What does the rest of the council think?
I think that's fair.
What do you think, Larry?
I mean, we've gone this long without having dogs on leashes. I don't another 2 weeks isn't going to hurt anything.
I can go either way.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
let's get more information out. Yeah.
Suggest we have Rob or someone included in the package of things that is discussed at the Parks Board meeting next week, and then trying to have it.
Zone controller switch to the quarterly maintenance. We're going to lose access to the radio for a very period of time.
Sorry, there's somebody. You, Rob. And then go to the first meeting in October for the action.
We can make that happen.
Yeah, it works for me. I'll get it all put together and be on a council letter for October, and then we'll do our media blitz here up until that point, and then the park stuff with Jan. Sounds good to me.
Thanks for your silent participation, Jan.
That's killing her. You got to know that's killing her.
You know, just a suggestion too. If you know, I fully support that. But if we get to the second reading and nobody showed up either at Parks and Rec or nobody showed up at our first reading, you know, you can always waive the third reading only because, you know, we're getting toward the end of the fall season, and it might be nice to at least have it in place during the fall so people kind of get used to it in the fall before you know, because otherwise it's not going to be effective really until winter time. So just a thought, but we can certainly make that decision at that time. So
I think that's a fair compromise, personally.
Yeah. All right. If there's nothing further on that, we'll move to item 3.3, and that is to discuss the draft resolution on the 3 to 5 referendum. AJ?
Well, as some of you may know, that there is a referendum out there in November, and we're part of the strategy of the folks that help to promote this is to get a resolution support from the various city councils of the cities that are engaged in this process that have an effect in Dallas County. we sent a draft one out to you. I think my original draft had the city of Clive because they put that together with the city of Waukee, reviewed it legally, and came to the conclusion that this is something that councils could do. So we have a draft resolution that has the right names, City of Urbandale, and that is just a resolution for the support for this to be, that it supports the ballot measure of November 5th from 3 to 5. So again, this is your first look at it. We would plan to have it on your agenda next week. I know that Derek, our communications director, was at a communication meeting yesterday. I believe, Bridget, you were there as well, and you may want to give an update as to some of those activities. But according to Derek, this is moving forward with informational material that is being developed that the cities can push out to their residents, saying, giving them just, again, informational material to hopefully make an informed decision come November 5th.
AJ, was Derek able to give you information from the meeting before he left yesterday?
He wasn't, but he told me that Pete DeCook from Clive is kind of carrying the water at the beginning, so I will get with Pete on that as Derek is out. He'll be back early next week.
So I can give a brief update, but you talking to Pete's probably not a bad idea. And Pete is definitely taking the lead on this. City of Clive is prepared to take the lead. Clive did a animated 30-second video for the 2018-2019 vote for the Polk County local option sales tax. And the idea would be to do a similar video that focuses on the 4 or 5 talking points that have been laid out from the beginning. We would likely hire a firm to make that video, and then also purchase some YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram ads. Cost would probably be about $10,000. City of Clive would front that, and then the cost would be split between the 4 eastern Dallas large suburbs. Derek didn't think that was a concern financially. It seemed very reasonable to me. The intent is really for us that have the capacity in terms of communications to put this together and then share it out to the rest of the communities in the county. For the local option sales tax, they had a landing page that was like clivelocaloption.com or something. We had some discussion around confusion between the education and advocacy, and we're gonna, the education stuff is gonna send people back to a landing page on each community's website that will have an FAQ and more information, because we think there's not really a good URL out there that is different than the advocacy folks already have, which is 3 to 5 for Dallas County. So it's a very tight turnaround, but like I said, Clive is really taking the lead. But I know all of the comms people are highly capable, and I think Pete will be pushing out a letter with an update for folks, and then I know they're planning on sending out a letter from Mayor Clark to the other mayors and city clerks, just letting them know that we are doing this, and all of these deliverables will be available to the communities throughout the county. So I feel pretty positive on the education side. There was discussion, and I don't know where it's going to land, of having one public meeting for those that like to get information and discussion that way, sometime in October, like at the Waukee Library or something. No need to do like a full scale like road show, I don't think. Other communities can do what they want, but that is what is happening on the education side. I changing my hat to advocacy, working with Courtney on that, likely be some printed materials, digital ads, those sorts of things. But I know it is important for us to continue to be able to say that we have the support of the county government. So the resolution that we will be passing, hopefully next week, continues to be an important part of the process. Anybody have any questions? It's, we met past the biggest hurdle. And I think when you talk to people in Dallas County, tell them it's on the ballot and give them the information. And I think it's a pretty easy educational effort.
What do you think I'm sorry, but I was going to ask a question. I know they're going to have another referendum for their safety center on the ballot too, aren't they? On the same ballot?
Yes, that just came out publicly. I knew it was coming. I have a lot of thoughts about that. And it's like 18, they're obfuscating the information, but it's like 18 cents per 100,000. I don't know if Nikki's on here, if she has gotten or can get better information, because I think the county is intentionally being pretty darn vague about it, and they waited until the last minute to put it on the ballot, which is how they've done things in the past. So
this is for their administration building, isn't it?
no, their administration building, I believe, is already paid for.
That's right, it is. Yeah.
But there was a significant property tax increase in this fiscal year that we're in now, based on those wonderful forms that we were all mailed. And then this is, another increase, which I don't think they do a good job of explaining why they need it. But this would be for a like courthouse annex, basically, for non-criminal cases. That they would also move the auditor there.
Okay. Yeah, I remember seeing that now.
So I don't know.
I just don't know how that's going to affect either way this particular item. I was just thinking about that. Is this going to have a?
I don't know. I see them. I'm not going to say what I think in a meeting here. So, but I don't. I think the 3 to 5 is if you can have 30 seconds to talk to someone about it is a pretty easy sell, and our FAQs will get expanded to, the primary question is, is it going to cost us more? Well, it's going to cost us, a minute percentage of the county's overall budget to increase the number of supervisors.
Getting signatures, all the people I talked to, and I'm sure your experience is probably the same. I think I can count on one hand the people that turned me down. They thought it was a bad idea. Everybody else thought it was a great idea. So if getting the signatures is any indication, I think it.
Right. But if there was any question I was asked is, how much it's going to cost. Well, we're going to try and get the money It's hard to pull apart their budget because they have to include the hospital and some other things, I think, at the county level. But we're going to get the auditor involved in figuring out how to give a correct apples to apples answer to the question.
I put a link in the chat box about the referendum too, by the way. So.
Yeah, there was something in the register yesterday or online. I don't know if it made the actual paper today or not.
Well, we will go ahead and plan to have this on your agenda for next week then.
So my only question, and it sounds like that this is okay, because my first question was going to be, is this an actual okay action to take? And it sounds like we've clarified, yes, we can, as a council, say that we support it. The city itself just has to then stay informational.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
But we can personally advocate for it as a resident.
As individuals and as individual council members, you're right, Bridget, you can personally advocate for it.
I don't remember if there's other things on the agenda, but if it's okay, I'd like a few minutes to talk about my favorite topic of DART.
That is the last item on our agenda. We can talk about DART. I have a few things to fill in too. So.
Pleasant Hill has on their agenda tonight an action to begin the process of leaving DART, which is the same process that Grimes started. It's an 18-month-long process. They can change their mind at any time. As an executive committee member, I am planning to attend the meeting and speak tonight, and just asking them to wait a little while longer because we're trying to figure out this reimagined DART process. And I would just like them to wait some more time. But, from what I've heard, they are really feeling the pinch of the legislative action limiting the growth of their budget. And they're also irritated, which we all are, related to Des Moines not funding their commitment under the funding formula. So we have a reimagined art workshop next week. I'll be there. I hope Bob is able to attend. If AJ or Curtis want to attend, the more the merrier. But we may get a little more serious conversation at that meeting because of some other conversations that are going on. So that's what I got, Bob. You can add whatever you feel is relevant.
Well, we had the mayors of Bondurant, Clive, Johnston, West Des Moines, myself. I think that was it last time. We met with Mayor Bozen and Scott Sanders to talk about Des Moines funding, and essentially said similar things, that if we don't get anything turned around, this could be the start of more cities of exiting out of DART, including Ankeny, and Ankeny was there as well. So just trying to get the message going that Des Moines needs to have some dialogue on this and needs to step up to the plate to increase its funding. So we talked for about an hour and a half. There are, as Bridget alluded to, there are bigger issues. I think we're seeing some of the effects of what the legislature has done. I think Pleasant Hill is the first city to probably feel a lot of those effects acutely, and I think they're now looking to see whatever funds they have available to them to meet their budget. Des Moines is talking about a $14 million budget deficit for next year. So, what the legislature has done has hurt everybody, but that's a secondary issue. The first issue is we need to be able to keep regionalism going in the area, and that's the first thing is DART. So we had that conversation. We're going to meet again and have that broader conversation among mayors. So.
Hey, Nikki Lamb, I got a question for you as it relates to utilizing the funds that, a community was collecting specifically under the DART levy. Those can't just be like transfers.
Well, we don't collect them, DART collects those.
Right,
So,
but that capacity does not show up somewhere else right away.
like for us to use or something, if they didn't
like
take
Pleasant
it?
Hill was saying that, the money that they collect, that goes to DART from Pleasant Hill could fund 3 full-time firefighters.
If Pleasant Hill increased their tax levy associated with it, but the DART levy doesn't have any impact on what the city's, like it wouldn't roll to the city if they don't use it.
And that would be constrained by the legislature as well, though. Action.
Again, Nikki, isn't it, my understanding, I'm sorry to butt in here, but it is a specific levy for transportation up to 95 cents. And when you joined DART, you abdicated that responsibility of your council, and you gave that to the DART Commission to put that on. And as you know, Bridget, the formula they have for the distribution of the charges. But I'm not aware, Nikki, I don't know if you are, that that 95 cents is exclusive to DART or public transportation. You can't take a portion of that 95 cents and say, I want to have firemen, policemen, or buy a new truck.
Correct. Not under that levy. If they have capacity under any of their other levies, yes. I think they're probably just trying to say it's equivalent to what it would cost us in our budget to fund 3 officers or whatever they said.
Okay.
But it's not like not giving it to DART, suddenly it rolls back to them. That's not under that levy at all.
That's just what I wanted to confirm.
Yeah. No.
And it's also subject to the growth. I mean, obviously the growth limitations of the current law too. So.
Yes, the revenue caps would still be in place on the valuation growth. But, if they have debt service, there's a few that aren't capped, obviously under that until if they change in 25. But under the current legislation, the general levy is the only one that would be in there. But like their employee benefits, they could shift still. So, but yeah, the cap is still they can't just suddenly add 3 with no other caveat.
Thank you for that.
What they can look to, and what the concern is too, is that this means a bigger issue, and I don't want to get into it right too much, or have too much foreboding, but Bravo and CVB are both subject to the hotel motel tax, which I think some cities may be looking at that. Why do we do this? And we need to preserve those dollars for our own city rather than send those to those organizations. So I think that's probably the bigger issue that's going to be coming up too. So
I think the proverbial bear has been poked, and a lot of discussions are now happening, which are a little scary. A lot scary.
Indeed. So. All right, on that great note, that gets us to the end of the agenda. All right, there you go. I didn't realize they had that T-shirt. There you go.
I got it at my first meeting in 2020, and
all right,
gonna wear it to Pleasant Hill tonight because that's who I am.
Give my best to Mayor Karofsky.
I will.
All right, that takes us to the end of our agenda. I will adjourn the meeting and
Bob,
was there anything you
needed to talk about or wanted to talk about?
Related to?
Well, I don't know. You mentioned before Bridget started that there are some things that you wanted to bring up.
Oh, well, I did bring that up. The meeting yesterday that happened with Mayor Bozen that's exactly what we talked about. It was the DART issues, and then we also, as all cities, talked about what we just talked about with Bravo and CVB, and the really what the legislature's done, and if we see further changes to the law this year, that's gonna we're seeing the beginnings of what the legislature, I think, put in play a few years ago. We always predicted it would probably take a couple, 3 years for that to happen, and I think we're starting to see it right now. So that was all.
Got it.
Am I still unmuted?
Hey, we can hear you.
Yay!
But we're adjourned now, Jan. You can't say anything, so.
Okay.
No, go ahead. If you have something quickly, go ahead.
And I apologize, but I did want to inquire when we do discuss about going to the commission about the leash. Larry, you had mentioned at the last council meeting the interest of including the McDivitt Cemetery as the idea of maybe suspending that as part of the ordinance. Is that something you would want me to bring to the commission as well?
Yeah, I think the leash law solves the need for a ban on having any animals within the McDivitt Cemetery. I think ultimately what we ended up doing was creating an issue for other folks who may not necessarily have access to a park, and this is really their only park is McDivitt Cemetery. And I think having this leash law alleviates a lot of the concerns that community members brought to us about dogs doing things in cemeteries they shouldn't be doing.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure before I went to commission that that's the direction from you as a council.
Yeah, I think.
I guess I'm okay with that. Is there, like, I don't know if you could look at parksignage.com or whatever, but like something that we could post to just say, hey, let's be respectful of headstones, or I think the point is asking people not to allow their dogs to do their business on headstones, and I think having them on leash solves most of the problem, but some sort of signage, I don't know, that could say, let's be respectful here.
Well, I think that can be part of the compromise with the ordinance, is that they can be in there on leash, but they still would not. I mean, it would still be prohibited to have an animal urinate or defecate on a headstone. So, yeah.
Is that something that we could just have as kind of like what we did here, where we have a conversation over a red line? Is that something we can kind of do as separate? I just don't want to have this come alongside what we're doing with that Chapter 90 red line before we've actually sat down and looked at the red line itself. That's just one thought that I had with that, is I didn't know if we were just saying we'll also make these changes and just have them for the meeting, or are we going to have a separate redlining conversation with that?
We could. I think probably the best thing to do is just have the discussion at Parks and Rec with the other, and then that can come behind. We don't need to run that ordinance at the same time as the leash law. We could run a red line past the council have the discussion at Parks and Rec, get a proposed red line of that one. So that might come 2 weeks after the leash law ordinance. So.
Sweet.
All right. All right. Thank you, everybody. We are adjourned. Have a great day.